Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear students, this session is about American dialects and I would talk about the linguistic uniformity and variety in American English. Well, my dear students, I hope by the end of this session you would be able to understand American dialects and the variety within American English that is spoken across the United States. Starting with the size of America, I would say an area that that constitutes of a federal republic, that constitutes of 50 states, that has some, I would say 5 self-governing territories and many other possessions. When all these brought together, this is what makes the United States of America. In such a vast area, it is very natural and I would say very normal to have varieties of English language that would vary across the United States. However, it is interesting that there is a unity in this diversity and there is a diversity in this unity. What I want to say is there is a standard American English language that we find, for instance, on American media. That is the language that is understood all across the United States. However, this unifying force is countered by a lot of variety of spoken forms of English language that vary from one area to other or from one ethnicity to other. And all these dialects, they have their own pronunciations and a lot of differences. These varieties of dialects actually contribute towards, all the diversity that we find in terms of, the linguistic existence of the United States of America. Here at this time point, I would like to take a pause and would like to explain a couple of ideas for further understanding. Because the US is a huge area, the varieties of English language, they do exist, of course, in terms of regions or areas. But there are certain other varieties that are not related to or that are not, based on the region or area. They are more based on ethnicity or culture. So, where do you come from? Who are your forefathers? Which culture you belong to? What ethnicity do you have? These are the factors that also contribute towards this division, and one kind of division does not work in this case. Just to have an example of cultural and ethnic American English varieties, I would give you the example of African American vernacular Ebonics from the US. Another example is of Cajun vernacular. Yet another is Hawaiian Pidgin. Latino vernacular Englishes are other examples, and what I want to say is that based on ethnicities or the background cultures, all these varieties of language are used by different people in the US. Here are some more examples from the cultural and ethnic American English varieties. So Chicano English, Miami English, Pennsylvania Dutch English are other examples of that. Shewa English is another example of that. With this, we move on to the regional and local varieties of dialects or, spoken varieties of English across the United States. In fact, depending upon which region or which particular area this language comes from or where it is spoken, that area or region would determine that variety. Here are a few examples of that. These are the divisions of areas, in fact. Eastern New England, Boston, Rhode Island, Southeast Super Region, Mid-Atlantic, Baltimore, Philadelphia, and Midland. These are all examples of, those different areas and the dialects that are associated with these particular regions. Here are a few more examples. For example, Hoytoider, New Orleans, Southern New York City, Northern Ireland, Northern Inland, and Western Pennsylvania. So, across different regions, there are different varieties of English that are used by the speakers of English language in the United States.